Before we get going too far, I did have a couple misses on our agenda tonight. According to our bylaws, I missed the acknowledgements. So we'll do that after the greetings from the chair. And then after the voting on the amendments into the Constitution and bylaws, we'll have the director elections prior to the other business. So with those in place, is there any other amendments to that agenda? Seeing none, can I have somebody to accept the amended agenda? Trevor? Do we have a second for that? Carla? Is there anybody opposed to that agenda as amended? Seeing none. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do before we begin, I want to start by acknowledging that we have attendees joining us from across the province whose work reaches lands covered by treaties 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. The traditional lands of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, Lakota, Nakota, and Saulteaux peoples, as well as the homeland of the Métis. I want to welcome everybody to the 113th Hockey Saskatchewan Annual General Meeting. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedules. As Joseph mentioned earlier, it is right after a long weekend, so I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us and hopefully make some changes and learn some stuff about Hockey Saskatchewan to make it better for our participants moving forward. So Joseph, are we still at 16 votes? Okay. So that means 75% of those 16 votes will be required moving forward here. So joining us tonight from staff, we've got Kelly McClintock, Joseph LaPrairie, Faye Matt, Derek Dureau, and Thomas Pillar. I don't think I've missed anybody there. If I have, I apologize. From our board, we have outgoing board member Nicole Korpushik, Trevor Norum, Ryan Hoffman, Carla Odnikon, Jeremy Trask, Sarah McNaught, Kayla Shaw, incoming board members Chris Morrison and Dale Meisner, also an incoming board member. We also have special guests, two of our life members, Marianne Veroba and El Hubs. So thank you everybody for joining us. We've got, as I mentioned, Nicole Korpushik is her third year on the board, and she's leaving us. She stepped up this year. We had an unexpected vacancy due to personal reasons with a board member had to step away, and Nicole stepped in and helped us out quite a bit this year. So thank you for that, Nicole. Wish you all the best moving forward. We'll hopefully get you back on the board. And our other outgoing board member this year was Tim Hubick. He was 15 years on the board, 5 years as our chair. And he got us through COVID and the transition from board of 23 down to a board of 9. So we went from more of an operational board, kind of a hybrid, I guess. And then now we're really focusing on policy governance. So Tim was the one who was able to kind of lead that change and get us to sort of the finish line. We're still finding lots of things that we need to adjust and amend, but at least we've got to the point where we can have those discussions as a group of 9. So thank you for that, Tim. Trevor, I'd like to ask you to do the honor roll for us.
Sure can, Edward. Thanks and welcome everyone. This past year, we have said goodbye to several great people tied to our hockey community here within our province. On behalf of the board of directors and all of us at Hockey Saskatchewan, we wish to express our sincere condolences. The following is a list of names that have been brought to our attention, and by no means is it comprehensive. Apologies in advance for any errors or omissions, and of course my pronunciation. Once I complete this, if any of one on the call has someone they would like to mention that has been missed, I will turn the mic over for a short time to do so. All right. Matthew Didick, a former player from Saskatoon Minor Hockey, in September 2024. He was 35. Bruce Vance, 63, Prince Albert Sports Hall of Fame and the Prince Albert Raiders Wall of Honor from Ontario and Prince Albert, October 2024. Bill Hay was 88, former NHLer, Hockey Hall of Fame, Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame member, former Hockey Canada president from Saskatoon and Regina on October 2024. Trevor LaPlante, 52, Prince Albert Raiders superfan from Prince Albert, July 2024. Mike Hasenfratz, 58, the Western Hockey League and NHL official from Regina, November 2024. Jim Miner, 69, former Regina Pats player, Memorial Cup champion, Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame inductee from Regina and Katepwa Lake, November 2024. Scott Anderson, former player, coach, and longtime Nipawin Hawks board member and governor, February 2025. Clark Campbell, 28, an official from Swift Current, March 2025. Danielle Munson, 16, a goaltender from Regina on March 2025. Addison King, 18, player from Flying Dust First Nation, April 2025. Ed Van Imp, 84, former NHL, two-time Stanley Cup champion, Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame inductee from Saskatoon and Qualicum, BC, April 2025. Doug Smith, former coach and local board member and a hockey fan from Nipawin, April 2025. Jesse Lubanicki, 22, former player from Regina, May 2025. Hayner Taylor, 18, goaltender from Canistano, May 2025. Robert Bob Dibvig, 77 years old, former president of Saskatoon Minor Hockey, SHA Zone Director, coach, PJHL President from Saskatoon, June 2025. Doug Wyatt, 84, former Hockey Saskatchewan President, Saskatoon Minor Hockey President from Delisle and Saskatoon, April 2025. Bill Ansell, 63, former Regina Pats captain, retired Royal Canadian Navy from Swift Current, June 2025. Lyndon Byers, 61, former NHLer, radio personality from Nipawin and Boston, July 2025. And would now open it up, anyone that would add. Thank you, Edward.
Thank you, Trevor. I see we have one more attendee. Do we need a name attached to that phone number?
Yeah, if we can get the phone number belonging to 9326, last four digits to identify themselves. You're on mute if you're unsure.
Off mute, but I can't hear anything.
I'll give it a text, Edward, and we'll see if we can connect that way.
Okay. If anybody wants to speak up or is having troubles or anything, feel free to use the chat option. We'll try to monitor that as well. So if you're having troubles and you can't get through.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
It's James Mays there, Edward. That's his number.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on with some protocol for the meeting. As per current bylaw 20401B1, the Hockey Saskatchewan Board of Directors have the right to amend or alter the regulations or playing rules of Hockey Saskatchewan. That was completed, and a summary of the changes were forwarded to membership. Any questions regarding them may be brought up in the question and answer period. However, there is no voting on those amendments or alterations to the regulations or playing rules tonight. We do have 10 notices of motion to amend the current bylaws to be considered at the meeting. Just a reminder, bylaw 20402 states that at least 75% of the votes in favor are required to carry any motion to amend our bylaws. And bylaw 20403 further states that any amendment or changes to the bylaws which are carried at the AGM shall take effect immediately. As we go through the agenda and the notices of motion, I've asked some of our or all of our board members ahead of time if they'd be willing to move or second certain motions in an attempt to respect everyone's time and move the meeting along. There'll be an exception for the director election where I'll be asking for it to be moved from the floor. So that's the only one. All the other motions should already be pre-motioned and seconded. So having said all that, the 2024 AGM minutes were put forward. Is there any questions or concerns regarding the 2024 AGM minutes? I have asked Jeremy Trask and Nicole Kerprushik to motion and second that. They've agreed. So it's moved and seconded. If there's no further questions or comments regarding those minutes, is there anybody opposed to accepting the minutes from the 2024 AGM? I am not seeing anybody. So that one would be carried. Okay. Moving along in the agenda would be the chairperson report. So on page 18 of the AGM booklet is where my report can be found. I'm not going to go through the report line by line. Hopefully you've had a chance to read it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. A couple things that I was going to highlight is we are dedicating our time to pursuing education to become better board members and a better functioning board focusing on better policy and governance principles. This past year, we focused on decision-making processes, financial literacy and policy creation, as well as identifying areas of risk and who's responsible for those risk areas. The board also adopted a new strategic plan, along with an updated mission, vision, and value statements. And we believe that by adhering to these, we can not only have a positive impact on the hockey community within Saskatchewan, but on individuals involved in the game as well. So there are some changes there, especially to the mission, vision, and values. Those have been long-standing. So there are new mission, vision, and value statements. I encourage everyone to check out the Sport of Rainbow Initiative. Faye Matt to be able to help anybody with that. It was really a focus in Ottawa to be on the board summit that was there about the impact hockey has on individuals struggling with their own identity. And this initiative is a way to indicate that everyone should be welcomed within the game in our province. I think it's well worth looking into. I want to highlight some of the challenges that are coming at us regarding non-sanctioned hockey. If we want to continue to grow our game, we have to listen to those who are choosing to participate outside of our sanctioned program and evolve and possibly adapt. As people get to have more and more choices of places to play, we need to make sure that we're continuing to provide the best experience to the players to draw participants into our fold. Listening to understand others' perspectives and desires is the only way to continue to stay nimble with the program delivery. And we need your help as MHAs to stay up to date and stay ahead of the curve. And it is important to listen to understand. So I really do request that you let us know if you hear something that we need to be aware of or some sort of a programming change that's necessary. By all means, let board know, let staff know. We need to stay ahead of this as much as we can. So those are some of the highlights that I had that I wanted to bring forward. As I mentioned, I'm not going to go through the entire report, so If anyone has any questions regarding that report, feel free to ask now. Seeing nothing, I've asked Trevor Norum and Nicole Kaprushik to motion and accept that report. So is there any opposition to accepting the chair report as presented? I see none. That would be carried. Now I get to move over to Kelly.
Thanks, Edward. I'll just refer people, I'm just talking about some of the finances primarily. So I'd like you to focus on page 25 of our AGM booklet, which really outlines a little bit of an executive summary at the start of a few pages of an executive summary of our audited statement. And I'm just going to focus on page 25 with some comments. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to review the executive summary and then the audited statement itself. A lot of what I'll refer to in the audited statement will be on page 39, which is the statement of operations. So, this year we saw a surplus of $296,001. I'd like to point out that without the investments that we have, of which in the combination of the interest earned on our investments, as well as the increase in the investment portfolio, which brought in well over $300,000, we would be in a loss situation on our operation. So the investments are really proving to be beneficial for us and really positive. But some of the items, when we look at our 24-25 audited financial statement comparison to the previous year, is one, we got an increase in annual funding of from SAS Board of $17,900, an increase in the membership assistant program funding from SAS Board of $9,900. We got an increase in funding from Hockey Canada to do the World Junior event in Ottawa. We're still waiting to get that, but believe it's already determined at $65,000 from there. We had an increase in player, team official registration, so our registrations were higher. We incorporated a fee for video reviews this year, so that it's amazing how many people want to submit video reviews, and that's taking a lot of time, but we attached a fee to that. We did expect to have greater revenue from our World Junior 50/50 program, but one of the things that Hockey Canada did is that whatever revenue was recorded, any of the branches of Hockey Canada that participated, 30% of the revenue was targeted to the Hockey Canada Foundation's Assist Fund, and those assist funds go to help pay for people's registration in minor hockey. And so they've collected money out of that 50/50, so it was less than what we expected. I also, in terms of, we do evaluations for minor hockey associations, that was down a little bit this year. And then the interest earned on our bank balance plus investments was over $353,000. We did absorb the cost of a green armband initiative this year. So all kids 16 and under wore a green armband, and everything we've got from back is it's positive from that perspective. And in our SAS First program, we're pretty conservative in terms of what we're budgeting, and we came in about $46,000 under budget. And then because of our increased registration, we had to pay increase in insurance and assessment fees that we expected to pay or projected to pay. So we came in at a surplus of what we saw there, and I think we're in good shape as an association. And as I said earlier, our investments are helping us tremendously. So yeah, I'll answer any questions that anybody has. Okay, I'm good. You are, you're muted there, Edward.
Sorry. So everyone was able to have a look at that auditor's report and the audited statement that was sent in on with that. So Kelly's kind of gone through some. If there's no questions, I've asked Carla Odnikon and Ryan Hoffman to motion the auditor's report as presented. So we've got it motioned and seconded. Is there any opposition to accepting that auditor's report as accepted or as presented? I'm seeing none. So that will be carried.
Edward, I can talk about the auditor if you like.
Sure.
So what we did this year is I've been around for since Jesus was a baby, it seems like, but for 31 years. And we've always had the same auditing firm, KPMG, but we did do an RFP this year. And through that RFP, we've got a very good proposal from the Virtus Group. So the board of directors are putting forward to recommend the Virtus Group be the auditor for Hockey Saskatchewan for the next 3 seasons for from 26 to 28.
I believe annually we have to
Yeah,
confirm it anyways, but that's the idea, that it be a 3-year commitment from them. So we have a motion from Kayla Shaw and Sarah McNaught to accept the Virtus Group recommendation to be our auditor for the next season. So if there's anybody opposed to having that motion as presented with the Virtus Group, speak now, please. I am not seeing any opposition to that. That will be carried. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to get to the voting on the notices of motions. But before we get there, just a couple quick items. The notice of motions are found beginning on page 55 of the AGM booklet. So if you're wanting to follow along, and maybe Kelly or Joseph, maybe it might be just as handy to have them on the screen as we go through them, if that's possible, and still see who's voting afterwards. Okay. The board of directors have given great consideration to the bylaw amendments we're considering tonight. And at the June board meeting, the board endorsed all of the amendments and are now presenting them to the membership for approval. As per bylaw 20304B, the chair of the board shall cast the board's eligible votes in one block vote. The 10 motions will be motioned and seconded by directors to speed up the process, as I went through earlier. We'll be going through them fairly quickly, but if you have any questions or concerns, please raise your hand or simply unmute yourself and speak up if you have any questions or thoughts on any of the individual motions as we go through them. I'll be asking strictly for opposition to the motion, and if there's opposition is clearly below the 25 or above the 25%, then below the 25%, the motion will be carried. If it's not clear, then we'll ask for a full vote for those opposed, in favor, and abstaining. So what we're looking for is 4 votes or less to carry the vote. Is that clear? Makes sense? Okay, so the first motion. So the current wording is a skills, competency, experience matrix to be created and utilized for the board assessment and candidate recruitment. That's the current wording. The proposed wording is a skills, competency, experience matrix is used for potential board member assessment and candidate recruitment. Basically, the rationale is it's already been created and is currently being used. It's still reviewed by the board annually and approved. So yeah, it's just to recognize that it's already been created and used. So that's been motioned by Trevor Norum and Nicole Krapushik. I can't see who's in favor and who's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask any opposition to please mark your opposition in the chat. So is there any opposition to motion 1? If there is, please put your name in the chat. I am seeing no opposition. That one would be carried. Motion 2, 20503D. Current wording, directors of the board elect the chair and vice chair each to a 3-year term. The proposed wording is the directors of the board elect the chair and vice chair each to a 1-year term. The rationale is to alter the limit or alter the term for the board chair and vice chair. So just going from a 3-year term to an annual term. We experienced a couple issues around our transition this year, and that's why most of these are coming forward. We think that they're going to make it a lot simpler process in the future. So that was motion by Carla Odnikon and Kayla Shaw. So if there's anybody opposed, is there any questions around this, I guess? Seeing no questions, is there any opposition to this motion? If you're opposed in any reason, any way, please put it in the chat. I'm seeing none, so that'll be carried. The next motion, 20503F. So this is a new bylaw proposal. So the proposed wording is that all members of the board of directors must be full-time permanent residents of Saskatchewan. The rationale is just to ensure that the directors are residents of Saskatchewan, and we also had another spot where this existed, particularly regarding the vice chair. So basically, we've moved that spot from the vice chair into this one, and then making it so that all members need to be full-time permanent residents of Saskatchewan. That was moved by Sarah McNaught and Ryan Hoffman. Are there any questions regarding this motion? I'm seeing no questions. Is there anybody opposed to this motion? If you're opposed, please put your name in the chat. Seeing none, that'll be carried. Motion 4, 20505A. The board of directors elect a vice chairperson that will become the chairperson of the board upon the expiration of the current chairperson's term or as need dictates. The vice chairperson election will be facilitated by the nominating committee. The proposed wording is to remove it entirely. The rationale is to remove the automatic move of the vice chair to the chair position. So that one was motioned by Jeremy Trask and Carla Odnikon. Are there any questions around this motion? Seeing no questions. Anybody opposed to this motion? Please put your name in the chat. I'm seeing no opposition, so that would be carried. Motion 5, 20505B. The current wording is the chairperson must have served as vice chairperson for at least 1 full year as a director for the immediate 3 previous years, 1 complete director term, and be a current director. The proposed wording is the chairperson must have served for at least 1 full year as a director and be a current director. The rationale is to amend the requirements for being eligible to serve as the chair of the board, as opposed to a full 3-year term as a director and then 3 years as the vice chair, just to open up eligibility to more board members for the opportunity to be the chair. We did have some challenges with this, with eligibility based on that current wording, and that's why this one's being put forward. Are there any questions for this one? Sorry, this one was motioned by Carla Odnikon and Jeremy Trask. Seeing no questions, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? Please put your name in the chat. I'm seeing no opposition. That one will be carried. Motion 6, 20505C. Current wording is if the chairperson is vacated and the current vice chair is not eligible or available to assume the role of the chairperson, then an election for the chairperson will be facilitated by the nominating committee, and subsequently an election for the vice chair required. The proposed wording is if the chairperson position is vacated, then an election for the chairperson will be facilitated by the nominating committee. The rationale is, like I kind of explained earlier, to enable all directors who have served 1 full year on the board to be eligible to serve as the chair of the board. That motion was motioned by Sarah McNaught, seconded by Nicole Kaprushik. Are there any questions regarding this motion as presented? Seeing no questions, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? Please put your name in the chat. Seeing none, that will be carried. Motion 7, 20506D. The current wording is to ensure knowledge transfer and mentorship is ongoing with vice chairperson to facilitate role transition at the appropriate time. Proposed wording is to remove this entirely. The rationale is that all directors who have completed 1 full year of term will now be eligible to serve as the chair of the board, not simply the vice chair. That motion was put forward by Kayla Shaw and seconded by Ryan Hoffman. Are there any questions, concerns regarding this motion as presented? Seeing none, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? If there is, please put your name in the chat. Seeing no opposition, that motion is carried. Motion 8, bylaw 20506F. The current wording is to receive appeal applications from any member and appoint committee members to hear the appeal if granted. So this is located within the job description terms of reference for the chairperson. The proposed wording is to remove it entirely. And the reason for that is the appeal process must be amended to fit within the SAS Sport suite of safe sport policies, where directors should not be involved with appeal procedures to ensure independence. So moving forward, if this motion was carried, then we would have to set aside a arm's length committee similar to our nominations committee to facilitate our appeals process. That was motioned by Ryan Hoffman, seconded by Trevor Noren. Are there any questions or concerns regarding this motion as presented? Seeing none, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? If there is, please put your name in the chat. Once again, seeing no opposition, that one is carried. Motion 9, 20507B1. The current wording is have served a minimum of 3 complete 3-year term as board director immediately preceding the call for nominations and currently occupy a director position. I'm drawing a blank here. Oh, this is the vice chair one. Okay. The proposed wording is must have served for at least 1 full year as a director and be a current director. So the rationale is to amend the requirement for being eligible to serve as a vice chair of the board, as opposed to a full 3-year term as a director first. So it's just saying that once you've served 1 full year as a director, and you are a current director, you'd be eligible to be the vice chair. That one was moved by Trevor Norum, seconded by Carl Ondacon. Are there any questions or concerns regarding this motion as presented? Seeing none, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? If there is, please put your name in the chat. Seeing no opposition, that one is carried. Motion 10, this should be our last one. 20507B4. The vice chairperson of the board of directors must be a full-time permanent resident of Saskatchewan. As we discussed earlier, this one was to remove entirely because we created that new bylaw earlier. So this one would just be a redundant bylaw. That one is motioned by Nicole Karpushik, seconded by Sarah McNaught. Any questions or concerns regarding this motion as presented? Seeing none, is there any opposition to this motion as presented? If there is, please put your name in the chat. Seeing no opposition, so that one as well is carried. Thank you for that, Joseph. Okay, moving on with the agenda. We're to the director election portion. So this past week, the nomination committee facilitated an election for the board of directors. There was 5 names put forward, and 4 were selected or elected to roles on the board. So Chris Morrison was elected to a 3-year term. Trevor Norum was elected to a 3-year term. Edward Watson was elected to a 3-year term, and Dale Meisner to a 2-year term. Dale accepted to serve the 2-year term. So I guess the remaining board members would be Jeremy Trask and Kayla Shaw serving the 2nd year of the 3-year term, Sarah McNaught, Carla Ondacon, and Ryan Hoffman serving the 3rd year of their 3-year terms. Ryan got on the board last year, but he agreed to serve a 2-year term last year. So what I'm looking for is a motion from the floor to accept the results of the election as presented. So that would be that Chris Morrison, Trevor Norum, and Edward Watson were elected to a 3-year term, and Dale Meisner was elected to a 2-year term, according to the election that was facilitated by the Nomination Committee of Hockey Saskatchewan. Do we have a motion from the floor to accept that? Ryan Hoffman? Do we have a seconder? Sarah? Oh, I see Kim. We'll put Kim in there. Kim Sobkwich will second that motion. Okay, so we have the motion on the floor. Is there any opposition to accepting the results of the election as presented? If there is, please put your name in the chat. Seeing no opposition to that, so that will be carried. Okay, that takes us to other business. I guess I should thank the nomination committee first for their time with the election, vetting the candidates and putting the names forward, and facilitating that election for us. It's much appreciated. Thank you. So is there any other business or questions from the floor regarding any rule changes, anything like that, like we mentioned earlier? Anything you want to discuss with Kelly, staff, board? Now's your chance to let it all out.
Edward, I'd just like to just advise people and congratulate Al Hubbs on being inducted into our Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame a year ago, or pardon me, a week ago. It was a great event, and congratulations, Al.
Congrats, Al. Marianne, you have
No, I was just going to say, Edward, we named the chair and vice chair according to the current bylaws that were in effect yesterday or until right now. And with the new bylaws being in effect, the position of chair held by Edward will be for 1 year, and the position of vice chair held by Trevor Norm will be a 1-year term. That's all. And congratulations, Al.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Marianne, specifically.
That's because I made him accept the nomination. That's why he's doing that.
Yeah, and she's getting back at me for lying to her many, many years ago about coming on the board. Told her it wasn't much work.
No, not a lot of time.
Edward, maybe I'd just like to let folks know, I believe it is public, the 3 female officials in our branch will be going to the Olympics this upcoming season. And I know our focus is always on grassroots, but by having a strong grassroots program that allows these 3 officials to move up the ranks and to be chosen across the Canada. So a relatively low number of officials, and to have 3 females selected is a feather in a cap to the office staff and the committee, the officiating committee. And I think I was made aware of one other that I was sworn to secrecy, so there may be someone else selected as well. And if that's the case, having 4 officials from a branch our size working the Olympics tells us that our office staff and our officiating development committee, I know some of them are on, the great work that they do is definitely paying off. And again, that focus on grassroots development is showing through and through. So thank you.
yeah, that's awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Prior to that, though, I'm going to ask the new board to stay on for a few minutes afterwards. We'll get together for a quick little meeting and have a discussion. I'd like to thank Nicole Kaprushik for her time. And Nicole is going to make the motion to adjourn our meeting for us. So hopefully I even got your name right. Did I say it right, at least?
Well, hang on. You did great. You're like the only
Okay.
person who said it right. So I
Perfect.
appreciate that. And thanks everybody. It was a pleasure for the last 3 years to be on the board, but governance, I'm still an operations girl at heart. So I am stepping back to be more involved, hands-on kind of hockey stuff. So keep doing the good work, friends. You're doing great. So thanks everybody.
Okay. Thank you for your time, and thanks everybody else for their time tonight coming on to the meeting. With that, meeting is adjourned.